whole, and then extends to advertising, which now I'll leave. I understand, and rather than us, we give rather than relation.
So we'll just been through any other comments, sort of.
Made by Auckland Transport at a bus deal where there was some young scrambling. So Derby, the gambling to be insane.
First of all, want to matters where what was the general view is, and then we'll so
to the issues in the submit. I heard Councillor talking about gambling come up. That we have a committee being part of the submissions. About that more, but I think it would have to, Mr. Wade.
At this point, or
blended change that I'm comfortable.
I've got that. Would you like to on what has been proposed?
Has a policy in place that investments on relates to lifestyle, etc. The major ones, but is no mention had been made of decision had a policy and to of that particular such as etc. that you may find etc. I think partly on the being around to yourselves to decide with transports.
It wouldn't be unreasonable to incorporate
the Auckland transport example I'm following.
All right, well,
paragraph 57 reads a policy that Derby or Councillor Casey to put it, not in whose opinion, central government, the one that could be taken by this council.
Okay, and so is something could be a policy and political proposal. Either the directions, I think. Chew over, Councillor Cathy.
Support the D with the amendment 56 and of this age, but at this late itself, clear as council interrogate if we confirm it now work.
Okay, so hang on, Councillor. All right, what bill specific by your two colleagues? Support to the regulatory and bylaws brands, products, style. So what that does, secondly, it provides the opportunity for a vote against it without any indications on. So I would have thought that on these two items, already in a sign policy, without have, secondly, if you did give your councillors, I don't think that one, hang on, just a little bit of that committee.
Okay. So it has to
yeah. Okay. This is Councillor Cathy.
Transport.
Yeah. It's Councillor Kim.
Can I just get a received issue policy? Are we able to hear in our city healthy food options or alcohol advertisers? Can we, we give some examples because I don't think it's extreme that.
Anything to add? It's just I find on events take place where you meant to wear it on a council would for a sign. The only ones.
Thank you. Delegate 15 priority and around trying to find examples that think would see them for what they are in different forms of space.
Since supporting the amendments, simply we're making and if this particular from another
Councillor Alf.
So there's to be done. So Cashmore said at some stage why. So at what stage for some war?
We've got someone waving. Good, Michael, come up here and.
To Alf's question, was adopted by commencing a review for that at the end. Is actually ideas as part of the response would be to advertise.
Awesome and being told, or we've been told, making sure that they're putting this.
Okay.
Yes, we have had hours at the where health and to children, some of the eaters, but what's a help? But I mean, the nanny state stuff and brand lifestyle choices. I mean, but we're not going to know. Exactly.
Absolutely true. We've had quite the work's come. All those in favour say aye.
Councillors Councillor Brewer. Councillor Filipina. No. Councillor.
It's lost. Okay, we'll put this up.
Can I just ask a question, boards? And I'm pointing to signage to appreciate that the a lot of or that are requirements lay them, but I just wanted to get some clarification of approach to now ways. I know they're regulated this morning for from Helga as to how arduous or upstairs businesses. That's the flout the buyer What local sense that ground floor continue to put there, October, and what is the application?
Particular clause is, this is an amendment that the version, what a clause, the Auckland Transport or Auckland purposes of 3B, regard to the purpose, consider it against the intent the appearance of the site in a particular an upstairs business or a site, but it's still as the transitional months for Government Act bylaws. The approach by us of for bylaws eventually to institute tenders or fines or anything of that sort.
That those flouting the bylaw beyond there will be
Recommendations. Well done. We have got in a Devonport board chair. We have Karen Wilson in the last one. Councillor Denise.
Thank you. To present the recommendation fees in the Auckland film to acknowledge is the Councillor Robin Wilson, Richard and Jasmine from the Bind, paid by Mike Cohen, Watson from Albert, two particular local boards in their for such as Parks Roads Auckland, which is a name change, responsibilities and issuing permits. Is the to our Auckland economy, be mindful between the two, the extra mile communities. Amendments to the special, we've heard the submissions will come into force on the first. Significant change is suggesting a set of fees. Those fees, which is in our own change from Film Auckland, and then a jurisdiction that they had body of work going forward. Imagine the contributions issue of back to local boards. We've addressed the to make sure that was right. Yep, step further to so that will be obviously want to in recouping those footpath.
So you'll move that. Is there a second?
The panel have done, and this with them at all times. It's a history as the protocols have been brought together, some work done. Mr. Martin, the genesis has certainly been reviewed, and I just want to waive the also be they made a request for the return. So I just want to make sure that they're not lost 18 years and startle the people of Bethel. We're now well versed and enthusing to in the film protocol out there history in the West. It goes up signs, OF and filmed where community a big and a whole sign to make it easier. We need to be focused on those bad stories we hear and pick that up. Our community, again, industry, it general community spend to be during the tough times. I hope there's not going to be a really good piece of work. Just accept their recommendations.
Councillors? Councillor.
Go to the Auckland Transport. Can we not at least, let's say it is a record, we're going to be a bit strong to redirect, encourage them and whether to, and that's
that sounds like excellent.
Standing, so
excellent.
Been advocating with Joe and I, the new council panel, since we're hosting our ratepayers perhaps for Hollywood, for Reach, Telescope ratepayers by drops through their budget are huge, but really sometimes on streets, localizing them for disruptions.
And the concerns that among the wording ability to set its own.
Yep. Just to say, councillors, third of it is film and animation. Slightly sort of filmy type part of the potential of and expanding our film houses for reminding us of and addition to our. So that it's been said, property maintenance and new. Hang on, I haven't finished.
Thank you.
There you go, Councillor.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. Look, we're going out for a long time. This is one that, if it's the second highest, coming to the Auckland land, and I'm sure you had people, Helga, Richard and Max, the scenes, pulling. I'm sure it was over the to me. I'll be brief. Consultation.
Very good. Councillor Carl will move. Are there, Kathy?
Raised the issues then, but control and feral animals. Could someone please it illegal to feed? Relates to property owners to make property owner homeless. So I'd
Helga, you want to talk about?
Is property, so it's not a nuisance, a fee private property. There is an ability to cut colony nuisance to the as to the provision is largely because hosts unsocial and the intent here is the public couldn't act in any event prevents such a property in guiding it with the, in contravention of the businesses to try.
Okay, Councillor Cathy.
Would this stop the feed Lakeside Park?
No, it would.
Just a question, in the case of tyres, etc.
The cats, they could.
For the person, existing solid waste landowner to ensure the property material that is owner to clean that up, do that, the cost could be recovered from that particular.
Very good. Cathy?
In ATS.
Look, this is a start. We could, committee work, and you can...
Affected by it.
So, light and feeding
I know.
pigeons.
Yeah.
Only
Pigeon Police, Councillor Cathy. Thank you for all of your questions.
Yes, thank you. In cars on residents, get a lot of calls, and the unfortunate expenses and in the middle of the night. Well, this
only affects private and lives in a.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we need to look at
this. This will be Councillor Sharon.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you. Property quite often communities who looks allow them to, they be it, and they'd contact the person and cut the grass and clear the. Is it going to actually do this as well?
But issue in the sense the land to a community comes and would be an occupier and if it's an administrator to us in areas with step bylaws, we don't have such bylaws tailed.
I'm talking about unoccupied.
Landowner remain.
I think we've had all.
Recommendation B, feral animals.
Identical proposal.
Wild or feral?
Feral as become and so forth and about feral. While so the distinction is between.
Just to close, you can understand why Council and he's
tested him enough. It's passed on to that bylaw committee. To us, committee, much that came the number, an underlying design, and secondly, for free up some to have through that process. I instruction the number lapsed back in that believe that expressed by council are fairly for us to we might be of the committee former the council talked about what I am over the last 3 months against the backdrop of a time to do that. Our release officers a little bit fair that our time and the numbers twice so means where we are during that an even stronger focus in their work can lead to work the budget agency housing and homelessness committee and my very much in partnership in any way of a lack of the whole with I have been expressed by through our achieve I as a way of an unchanged and so your support all right.
Which committees are there committee meetings? The efficient committees is there, have you?
Look, the council, what we the committee workload with of policy opportunity of actually for workshops. So in inefficiencies.
Well, I'm mentioning committees were identified of committees to at least you'll say having that in your opening brief is what it does to seeing this report. And I actually I am going to comments to you all. You thought about it, councillors. You say about it. It's the committee looking at the put on hold. Action. You don't action. Well,
about area that here sort of interest.
One thing.
Correct.
you. And there's don't to cost premiums for the additional 100 can't just arrive for you're automating or I think that I best to enough.
Mind you, the nation is about
Casey. For compose that has a bit in the first getting my my agenda really like to get more there's public so we different what do you on issues I like Guinness the coach, I think my 15 years, I public, and we can't people queue up for the whole do.
Good.
And we in committees. What?
Thank you.
Speak just
Yeah.
there are codes that are through anything and because these are okay. It's been held people in the chair, not about go do it. I mean, in this comments of everybody provides for time, but have to really spend the time of 4 minutes out. I think I the decent QE as a committee. So I finish my years. I mean, staff me to the if the fish come to be me to prepare the portion committee because of listen and of it is if you want someone like to speak with that he's due to the others.
I did should be and from those about that we I know people tuning and from city position because both structuring we for the well was led by action that unity by the nose there is a place timely and neutral advice leaders overlooking a better represent. So I say that I'd certainly retreat. It didn't seem, Mr. Mayor, that the kind of but efficient way opportunity out.
I'm obviously supporting my colleague Councillor Quacks. I mean, I did a normal meeting place to go all out of the term. I did that I didn't believe the Finance Committee all the way to Papa. Going that far, very well, of the staff is the fact that so much that other the local people or that they we have not seemed to have meetings on Monday, and I think committee meetings, and there are a lot of work in council. I say that work that we have to have which carry out the grunty work of council says committees with less number into those responsible for that council with the role of management at our peril role, and I think we delve into of council and support this change, the mayor, and I'm going to support the.
Mr. Mayor, and we have been asked to understand why look at an issue, an area. Why can't they do it anyway? It doesn't have to take, and that I'd like to save us.
And the number, yes, there will be. So that's responding to the from. Could we do something about it?
And how we probably need to check several questions. I'd like to hear from one or two others. Ask questions. These go on for so long.
I won't be supportive. They don't support this. Open up to come and do as an economic issue that tell us what they're doing so we know. At the ED committee saying I should cancel it because unfortunately I did come to that meeting. The bids had to responsibility to the PM and talk to us. It is quite frankly, and business delegate the authority for it to happen in the future, how we stream all this and make that all into consideration. I wonder sometimes here we're trying within your own portfolio. Being very, I think we have a responsibility when we're here. If they're lucky. Thank you.
Wayne.
I haven't said anything. And that is that the meet on a 2 monthly basis. You've heard from Alpha, you've heard from economic, and I don't think it's where the community is at. First off, I didn't plan, and not just Auckland, and that's all of Auckland. Things that fell out of that plan around economic and everything in Auckland, working and what we're taking that and becoming. Sure, we're going to have more workshops. We're going to dumb down for genuine opportunity for some interchange, an item that some people like saying pollutant. Now, with some compelling that elect on the part of all. As I don't know the committees that wrote the report has also committed. The logic is around those relatively small can run, but especially the committees of the height around the room and those committees. So taking these sub is woefully inefficient around, that's not efficient efficiency. I asked the question, now an environment where Auckland nation, and we know that, is not going to, don't have, so as far as stack up,
thank the councillor for Papakura, sir. And Councillor Al-Filipina for taking us far-flung place, and I hope people brings me into a context of beast. So to me, it's not about the number of, from the context, having will of access. They still can reporting actions and those deliverables through. Stated that there are, and that streamlined focus.
Thank you, Councillor Bill. And he's we like that.
Look, the big picture struggle with the quorum. Get people around it. We had to struggle to come in. If it wasn't for the IMS, it was late in getting started too, because we were committees as a whole. I take my job seriously. Go too much into this today. I'm going to keep it brief. No. I wrote back in February. And to me, it's about what do we say, and we don't put enough time to deliver it. It's a presentation, but what are we actually delivering to the people? I take on board culture to be mixed into the 2 monthly. Deliver. And what benefits do we do to the people? Most of us have been know that PDC days afternoon because and what benefits and to try and call unless it's something of importance. I'll support the recommendation. Maybe either. I'm happy with.
And my voice support, given that this is your jurisdiction. One of us asking to retain. So we do. I recall back at our retreat support for that to be jack of all trades. I would really like you name it thing, and I think that's a portfolio piece. I would very much like it. What remains, I long on areas of would come with time. Councillor Wood's point about particularly professional development and their agendas, and then between concrete coming soon. Sort of an example could do, and I has read one particular economic development agenda. I think if you're going to call for any, and if we economic development people looking at bids and key deliverables is meeting on a positive, and this deliverables and it more only be good several times so far. That face really like to have the conversation.
Portfolio structure. All of those policy development works as reference to what went on. And with it was there was no committee structure. They were standalone. So the reason why I made the change, there was our leaders that they did them in the first term. Was absolutely is that my view is that if the portfolio they'd like to bring to the table, in effect, as a leader, the mayor can do everything. It would be where we delegated. Fletcher constantly goes out about leadership. So I'm listening to you all. I think we should focus on that. We've talked. I'm sick and that it's not just talking about actual today. I've listened for the last 8 to pull the blink. That wouldn't achieve. Each of you talked about committee. So anyway.
This is a conversation into two, not a standing order, and that we put rules around how many committee meetings we have, what we've actually have observed, and actually making a decision in place about making us around the table some of the important work that needs to, and sitting back, voting, kind of, I'd probably agree with engagement about that. I would see, for instance, as the portfolio, Casey has a budget support to go out, to come up and see, and to make that transition. No meeting is going to happen. We sort of challenge the oversight of the work program. For those of us who are chairs of for information out, and we have required to. We are governors using our roles. It's taken 4.5 months, this big extra to job, to we might like doing that. Fun and enjoyment. That's city. And local boards yesterday to facing our arms and our legs. If that's how we want to spend our role of the governing, presented as ourselves from or what this is for, that we have, you, me, I try decisions, excellent chairing of that. We're trying to find take on how we see equity holdings, critical fuel, expensive. We make those things because we like them. This is kind of, or we go into things that we are passionate about, and PLAs. Agree. I don't think this goes far. We need to do a lot better with our. Well, we have how we can do better under a changed structure, role, but we are left free have time to do it, and my individual, because we're having a hell of a lot of, and with this, I think we can do better. Being a governor, we need to step up committees of the whole, and we need to assist in. We don't have time to do that. We have forums, the meeting to be present for you. Putting this with reservation, thank you.
Our Chief, the roaming, some costs.
Sorry.
In the events, the members, and you know, it'd be far better because the cost of all those sort of things here. I don't know if there's any public got elected board council. I'd be interested just to see a show of hands.
Carry on, please.
We have gone to committee meeting. Council staff have had to ever. I think.
Very good. The next topic, and then which, like, I can't help but think that we're with ourselves and looking at table, and I and think at the core of the process about people structures only. I'm a part-timerism of at other politician is address that is like that. And I look at all commissions arrived and legislators but the bigger to match all those, and this is something I've conveyed, really quite underwhelmed in debates and workshops. I think it was I was 1 month in. CCO 3 years. They were letters of expectation which were going forward. I think we need to I see it. Interrogate line when the throwaway line is, or when it's like, yes, there is a leadership, it's that. But we glare in here, and to a certain extent, but I think the next, like a cabinet of visible, and they've got right now. Points you just extent, I think, and it's about divide. And the local boards have portfolio leadership, absolute, and local board. I read recently the fact that their local 25-minute meeting. Both governing body and local board missing, I say us, that I don't think those are around us. So we've got professional body members. I'll be mindful of the amendment stress, not about the packaging. This allows them,
All right. I think everyone's had a fair
question. Statutory obligation, heading up the committee, and I would consider an additional back. Aurelio Lee said before, Mr. Mayor, and I took the results, mind you, for communities to see a decrease in because of portfolio. There was also around school portfolio leadership. Given the fact that that would be appropriate, refer back.
Councillor, reflect is that there are most people really address some of the mate on the street. I think I'm happy with some part once, and really highlight this. And no, we put those first. Which is sort of specifically relevant. But first of all, arts, culture is against.
Doing the division on Councillor.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor House. Quacks. Wayne Walker. Councillor Webster.
Okay, I'll put the second. Is there a seconder for that? No. At the moment. Really lapses. I'm going to all those in favour say aye.
Councillor
No.
Councillor Fleck. Rose. Yes. Councillor Stewart. Councillor Wood.
Yes. Is it? Move that. All those in favour. It's passed on the voice. Oh. Move them all. No. Yeah, I just can we just?
Well, not at this stage.
Seconder. Okay. Some discussions that you have in front. I would have, and about this in terms of the delegations, and I have been mindful of with the executive, the role of delegations. Now seen include his time, understanding balance sheet is the role of the chief. Timely, $5 billion depends on management of that budget. Right under, given the fact and the organisation to enable the chief executive officer is not $100 budget. I'd like to ask within the
had the officers and passed today. The Derby play. We have allegations councillor work, and you can see the executive place. One, executive strength. This is partners and efficient. Mind with the delegate within, and so we don't long-term process. You know, the budget. This is not one that we can we hope you're feeling we will implement.
Okay.
Fletcher is happy to move it, and I'm happy. And being that I'm not, but I do attend all that we've had on this item here. It's pretty. Stevens, I'm happy to second this.
Question: financial assets worth off plus, and question is for council when sold off. I'm assuming they don't all, given that we have a reference. I'm really seeking state. Steve?
So through your change with ACPL, they've gone through this with relevant iwi. No change to any of those.
Okay. Disposed of through that delegate?
Yes, eventually disposal really drilled down.
Okay.
Mr. Review Committee has met this issue. There has been Councillor Darby make that distinction. We are wanting actions. Quinn, we progress the unanimous support, check and balance, some change. We want to see those operational requests that has come to us from unanimously supported way. I mean, by virtue of the fact that daylight for the public, looking to the way that council, I think it's time. Do want issues that are referred that judgment to council for really implore measure. I think it was big. It's a good form to progress things. Very briefly, to say.
I think which are both the built committee room and the lead under the delegate support, be it judgment, but would have been full hard extraordinary. The scale of that, I would a payment of that it would want to be appraised of. That's another delegate support.
Moved and
thank you, Mr. We double 15 put here is between over getting the site greater financial oversight and segregation, but it's not quite that is. You've said, Mr. Mint, out through the Ports of Auckland issue as on financial matters should be next when they come in and a strong political belief that this session, and I accept commercial acumen, the chief executive that this is part of a package. Better the timing of it. Quantum, and putting that aside, I didn't third way doubled, but not to the. I think also with the committee realised, and I just can't see the lift this delegation at we are sitting around being low. I believe of council itself and addressed, albeit the meeting, Mr. Chair, giving the chief authority and public's side tight budgetary and financial on the campaign trail. We're going to be running that to of this council, and I believe in million. Except Mr. Moby, ACC, NZ as well. It might be more than that. NZT sector organised, governed by elected representatives. So to say to those organisations, they are not around there ongoingly and increasingly. My amendment authority and those emails greater oversight, not less executive, and things with greater. So it's.
Councillor.
It's rather council meetings that we have that make the decision, because the quantum of being the chief would agree, the Winston Peters view, and he just know whether it couldn't be the types of situations and how and so forth, the balancing on these. So types of situations.
Through you, Chair, perhaps a range committee, memory, having 100 million, the right place, some the million if we get at that operate around those, the mid high workload, because I'm sorry, quiet and involves, and those normal capital work, service delivery contracts and sports and recreation, it's just lifting the procurement.
Of the need for oversight, where do you policy based? Maybe you'd just like to who have conceit and effective.
So obviously it's so what routinely published by the Auckland published on the web oversight to do that. So we've actually all sharing of information more mature.
Right, very good.
Having, as I mentioned, having spent the last hour, that will obviously have some normal 5 or 6. Some of those.
That agenda item.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. From my reading, number of contracts, the recommendations follow leadership. under a mayor, and I think that would be a consuming or chief executive.
Times too. Normally it's really.
Just conferring with the
Have been dazzled.
I try to clearly it does from Papakura. Look, by council of, but all this perceptions more than rubber stamp. In terms of the vendors and procurement, the just 80 given the period just over. Could they have done that? Would now not go to the tenders and procurement.
And the next line up as well. Yeah, so there's
18 and 3. So those 21. I just so in terms on that particular committee, maybe the report was a little might be something great that we had kept that delegation executives delegating over this for. I'm very happy that amendment and will be very ELT no other a realistic at public of news is telling elected members of should operate or elected member decision without wanting. It is important that sure that a contract officers the elected members support. Councillor.
Amendment here, while I can understand a little bit perception progressively commercial acumen, increasing acumen, so really behind support and ask for more. Clearly calls for this and how we deal in vain. We need to get stuff done. Licensing increase.
All right, well, I think first. No.
Councillor Case, Councillor Clow. Councillor Fletcher. Councillor Stewart. Councillor Wayne Walker. Councillor Webster.
Okay, thank you. A substantive motion. Those are no now for lunch. But before we, 3 of our to retire. Grant Taylor in Auckland. See his ability, deputy city treaty. Those are the days. Grant. Strategic development at both management and administration. Convinced to join the new. Those of us who have worked to excellence. I'd like to pay relationship with the Tami Collective, the Statutory Board. There he is. Excellent. As a son of another aspects of management, the meat industry, Television New Zealand, beauty. The opportunity has been passed on record as saying that I know in a city where I was born and staff say about him, listening, done during amalgamation, and we wish as the bucket list holiday us as a leadership coach. At least Dr. Roger has been a public servant and civil engineer. He joined concrete buildings and appointed as New Zealand's first secretary role in Replenishment Act in affairs during the review of the local government's checks. We were reminded 5 years ago, the decades. Roger led that fast, bold economic development strategy in the sense of work development and champion for a design led in Auckland Council as we see. Auckland Council, the work very solid foundation for Roger. Congrats, everyone. On that very positive note, we stand adjourned. 1. Penny, can you sit down, please? All of so Counter Governor of Guangdong is very, very, very senior, therefore at Hapasto. You know, we've got
that we have to live in here. And
Councillor. Is there a seconder? Councillor George will second of that.
I was quite and of our certificates B as one petitum.
Acknowledgements to the standing order find easy to use. We hope that culling out a lot of is more like play. There are some we need to go through. 20. This issue, councillors who are not, was practically where the question quorum line. We discussed that's returning to the previous practice. 32 refers to a change. At the moment, it's 30 minutes. At risk, simply below that hardly for the chair to extend up to 10 minutes. 7, a change for all councillors. When Parliament happy with the provisions provided, and what we could include in our standing order were circulating party felt that, and there were some situations members to attend remote. Those 3 situations that are actually sick or infirm. Looking at, you'll know that fairly someone moves an amendment, moving on to another amendment. We look, amendments can be all the order in which they're put. Situations should still apply to committees of the whole. The rule about apply to governing body. In under paragraphs 46, amendments made, as you know, the standing orders at committees, and also, in other words, can propose and speak atmosphere. Chair of meeting is if a chair decides, and the sense of that out specific used. So one is to say any, and then which the chair can reduce or remove speaking times from time to time. We have to be dead to have public input times. Motions and repeat notices of notices of motion, standing orders, and if it's rejected by 6 months, so the change is lodged unless there's moving on to be lodged by don't say anything. So by the proposed majority of the meeting, second time meetings, the order of business, just what's relevant. There was discussion, some clarity added there, and legislation, but we've items on the agenda, and that's the chief executive for an ordinary agenda, but that has is urgent, then we will be out. But we've written in the attention of the meeting something, so the notice of motion that's out of. I've referred to have a so there is already, and we've added a provision hours unless the effect of retention, and you then perhaps for another.
Well done. Changes there. That most of them, right for you, without any contention. So.
To say, I love stuff. I agree with that. I didn't. I was wondering sort of revote to actually require them. I don't know. Tough. 1/3 has changed to the majority.
Are there any other councillors?
If I may, why does it count towards the?
I thought was the best.
The fact of being present, I just think it's really difficult. View of quality, all that sort of stuff. How to manage it properly. Denise, there was councillor.
Attended the workings of minority reports and on issues well recorded, and I'd like to signal to as we move forward that council notice motion offensive in the provision in terms of audio well or not work as the case just who for using, and same token stay away having to participate. So I appreciate undertaking that work and not this unwisely. So if the issue of minority reports with selectors is being properly recorded.
We've fully invested. The equivalent here would be reporting to the governing body. There could be in the body of the report or something like that.
We are to see further refinement so that these can be.
Look into that further about the notices of motion. 2 issues. The signatures, but if you're happy, for repeats.
Yeah, wise advice, Warwick. Concerned, and we've been talking to 3 fellows who are things that we're pretty to litigate stuff, and you've heard me say, we made a decision, we just got to instantly relive or reliability and views of the majority. Oh, yeah, I know you were, Councillor. But that principle, if that is a good way of keeping it sort of continues to bubble, then moving forward of, I've never had to worry about that, or notice of motion, opportunity of a bar. So I get Sharon.
Just something that I think instead of the 9:30, page 325, meetings at night, time at the 9 instance, and it just seems to work. Just wanting to have around about 9 in the office to don't know how the other councillors, but I do that are not here right now.
I think a separate discussion. Suspect that could be a 5 hour. I just wonder whether the best idea, because such a we're at 9:30. I mean, can we just 3 weeks, something like that, rather than sort of as a part of the standing orders per se. And if we can get a start time, and we will. Okay, so them will be all right. So the bring back, and I think it's
accommodates it should procedure, and a lot of local government New Zealand. So I think we've that members the that is there, Warwick, and I'm just one motion or reference. Do you have an opinion on the movers?
The member intends to material, and by and large that has.
Our staff, we get recommendations. I think that could be just if we report for a notice of motion.
Councillor Chris says wanting to, that you consider it with that. Even notice and note 100 pages. Colleagues or...
I pricked my ears up, and I think that it's mover of and as well, and it would be good to report to make that.
Suggest that the
notice of motion.
I think so. You okay with that? We could put all those against. Chris, well done. Here's Board and Deputy Chair Colin. Nothing like a labourer. Now, this is extraordinary business, and to report. So, away you go.
Control. The High Court we call the Nautilus building, we found all claimants council, and this is what we don't have a delegation. We're here today to make this payment. Some that has been entered against the.
Right.
I'm happy to, and can I just council or approved by Rodney District?
Out there. All out there somewhere. From the edge of levity, you've been in local government for a little shock horror of leaky, and the fact that local government over however long, you recall that the government New Zealand can resolve with under that at a cost, but and to try them successful half of the people of is there. Let's debate.
I'd like to set thanks to the Deputy Mayor. She does an amazing. You take these that you're not happy with this.
Thank you.
That's that there's possible recovery as I read it and discuss there, or is that?
It's a work in progress liquidation policy, and there are also issues that we are resolving. Can't confirm any.
On that C and C, we are going too often the big guy staff at C doesn't just bear judgments end up being.
The principle, what we found very early were the door to pennies up forthwith, and of course we as the council, boy there have been, who. So look, legal counsel will be pursued. Councillor George.
Some momentum. Those applications, because and taking so long to sign something, responsibility. I think it's a good lesson.
I just by the other group that the CADA settlement
negotiate about judgment, and some very careful. And reopen what happened.
Look, we the demonstration we would or wouldn't appeal, so don't want to disclose for potentially settling claims. So if you do want to exclude the public on these in the public arena, because we
Mr.
Isn't be put.
I'm pleased that whether it was accurate or not, reflected as to council parties.
Our motion is on the table. There is a sin be put. All those in favour, I'm going to put the those in favour say aye. All the best. We are now for the public part. I will therefore move that second.